Today's topic is corruption, and many people believe corruption is the main issue of society, affecting trust, justice, development, and everyday life deeply.
That is a powerful starting point, Annie, because corruption touches politics, education, healthcare, and business, slowly weakening institutions that should protect ordinary citizens.
When people see corrupt behavior everywhere, they lose faith in systems, and this loss of trust creates frustration, anger, and hopelessness across different social classes.
I agree, and corruption often starts small, like favoritism or bribery, but over time it becomes normalized, spreading like a disease throughout society.
Some argue poverty is the real issue, but corruption actually increases poverty by stealing resources meant for public welfare and development projects.
Exactly, because when funds are misused, schools remain poor, hospitals lack equipment, and roads stay broken, directly harming people who already struggle.
Corruption also affects moral values, teaching young people that success comes through shortcuts rather than hard work, honesty, and skill development.
That mindset is dangerous because it creates generations who believe rules are flexible for the powerful and meaningless for ordinary citizens.
In many societies, corruption becomes so common that people accept it as normal, which makes fighting it even more difficult and complex.
Yes, normalization is a serious problem because when everyone participates, refusing corruption feels risky, lonely, and sometimes even harmful to survival.
However, some say corruption is only a symptom, while weak institutions, poor leadership, and lack of accountability are the real root causes.
That perspective is interesting because strong institutions with transparent systems can reduce corruption, even when society faces poverty or inequality.
Still, corrupt leaders weaken institutions intentionally, creating loopholes and confusion to protect themselves and silence opposition voices.
True, leadership plays a central role because honest leaders inspire accountability, while corrupt leaders encourage fear, silence, and misuse of power.
Corruption also damages democracy because elections lose meaning when votes are bought, results are manipulated, and public opinion is ignored.
And when democracy weakens, citizens feel powerless, leading to apathy, low participation, and acceptance of injustice as unavoidable reality.
In education systems, corruption can mean fake degrees, unfair hiring, and poor teaching standards, which directly affects national progress.
Education is crucial because corrupt education creates unskilled professionals, harming healthcare, engineering, law, and administration simultaneously.
Healthcare corruption is equally harmful, as fake medicines, illegal fees, and misuse of funds can literally cost innocent people their lives.
That is heartbreaking because health should be a basic right, not a business opportunity for greedy individuals exploiting human suffering.
Some people justify corruption by saying low salaries force employees to take bribes to survive in difficult economic conditions.
While low salaries are a concern, corruption cannot be justified because honesty should remain a principle, not a luxury only for the rich.
Cultural factors also matter, because societies that value connections over merit unintentionally encourage favoritism and unfair advantages.
Yes, when relationships matter more than competence, corruption hides behind tradition, loyalty, and social pressure.
Media plays an important role, because investigative journalism can expose corruption and raise awareness among citizens.
Unfortunately, corrupt powers often control media through threats, money, or influence, limiting the truth reaching the public.
Technology offers hope, because digital systems, online payments, and transparent records can reduce human interference and bribery.
I agree, but technology alone is not enough without strong laws, independent courts, and political will to enforce accountability.
Public awareness is essential, because informed citizens are more likely to question authority and demand transparency.
Education about rights and responsibilities empowers people to resist corruption instead of silently accepting it.
Some believe corruption exists everywhere, so fighting it is useless and unrealistic in the modern world.
That belief is dangerous because many countries have successfully reduced corruption through consistent reforms and strong institutions.
Social inequality also connects with corruption because powerful elites often escape punishment while poor people face strict consequences.
This double standard creates resentment and anger, increasing social division and weakening national unity.
Religious and ethical teachings strongly condemn corruption, yet practice often contradicts these moral values.
That contradiction shows how personal interest can overpower conscience when accountability and fear of consequences disappear.
Young people can be agents of change if they refuse bribery, demand fairness, and promote integrity in daily life.
Youth energy is powerful, but they need protection, guidance, and opportunities to challenge corrupt systems safely.
Civil society organizations help by monitoring government actions and providing platforms for citizen voices.
Yes, collaboration between government, media, and civil society is essential for long-term anti-corruption success.
Some critics argue focusing only on corruption ignores other issues like unemployment, inflation, and lack of education.
But corruption actually worsens all those issues, making solutions ineffective and wasting limited resources.
Legal reforms are necessary, but laws mean nothing if enforcement agencies themselves are corrupt.
Independent accountability institutions are crucial because they ensure laws apply equally to everyone, regardless of power.
International cooperation also matters, since corruption often involves money laundering and illegal transfers across borders.
Global pressure and transparency initiatives can discourage corrupt practices and protect whistleblowers worldwide.
Corruption also affects small businesses, forcing them to pay bribes just to operate legally.
That discourages entrepreneurship, reduces innovation, and keeps economies dependent on a few powerful players.
Psychologically, corruption creates constant stress, fear, and mistrust among citizens dealing with public offices.
Living in such an environment drains hope and motivation, pushing talented individuals to leave their countries.
Migration due to corruption causes brain drain, further weakening systems that desperately need skilled professionals.
This cycle continues unless serious reforms break the pattern and rebuild trust gradually.
So, would you say corruption is the main issue or simply the most visible one?
I believe corruption is the main issue because it feeds and strengthens many other social problems simultaneously.
I partly agree, but I think corruption and weak moral education grow together, each reinforcing the other.
That is fair because moral values, strong institutions, and fair leadership must work together to reduce corruption effectively.
Ultimately, fighting corruption requires patience, courage, and collective effort from every level of society.
Yes, change may be slow, but consistent honesty, accountability, and awareness can gradually build a fairer, stronger society.
People often ask where to start, and I believe personal honesty in daily actions can slowly influence families, workplaces, and communities.
Small actions matter because refusing a bribe or reporting wrongdoing sends a strong message that corruption is not always tolerated.
Role models in society are important since citizens copy behavior from leaders, celebrities, teachers, and public figures they admire.
When role models act ethically, they normalize integrity and make honesty socially respected instead of mocked or seen as weakness.
Punishment alone cannot solve corruption because fear works temporarily, but values-based education creates long-lasting internal discipline.
I agree. Combining strict punishment with ethical education builds both external control and internal responsibility within individuals.